Yes, people. Welcome to another edition of Agenda FC on Sarcasm City TV. Brought to you by myself, Flawless Mr. Take Note. I will be joined by Lewis. You can see he is there. He's just handling business, but he will be back. Don't worry. But yes, this is Agenda FC. Our apologies for missing the show last week. Obviously, the show wasn't here last week, but with the Euros and everything else, the Euros and NBA watch-alongs and Copa America and all types of, the schedule was just packed alongside with the weekly shows as well. But we are here, Agenda FC people. But first and foremost, love to everybody who is supporting the channel. Big up to everyone who is supporting Sarcasm City TV. Love to each and every one of you. Large up the Twitch gang as well. It is road to 100 followers on the Twitch. So if you're active on Twitch, Sarcasm City TV it is. The link is underneath in the description. Just go to Twitch, type in Sarcasm City TV. That will pop up. Follow and subscribe over there, people. And equally as important as well, whether you're watching this live right now or you are watching this back, please make sure you hit the like button on the video. Let's get the likes up. Get the likes up. Make sure you share it across all the socials and make sure you subscribe to the channel Sarcasm City TV. And when you subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell as well, because we go live every single day. There is an upcoming live stream section on the channel, so you can see all the shows that are up and coming all the way up until I do on a weekly basis, Sunday to Sunday. So you can see all the way to Sunday, all the shows we have. So all the regular weekly shows we have, all the watch-alongs, etc., etc. So yeah, man. Big up to everyone who's supporting Road to 3K for Sarcasm City TV. And let me get to the comments quick before Lewis gets back. Obviously, you lot can see the title already, but big up to Bambo, who says big up. And he also says, man like Lewis. And he also says, man like Flawless, big up to you. So if you haven't seen Agenda FC before, big up to Lewis here. Lewis, actually, before we go into that, how you doing? You blessing everything, yeah?
Yeah. I'm all good. I'm all good. Just tired, but we're all good anyway.
Yeah, I hear that. I'm blessed, fam. You know what I'm saying? Out here tired, but working nonetheless. You know what I'm saying? And that. So if you haven't seen Agenda FC before, the title is where people, so myself, Lewis, are a special guest, get a strong opinion across. You know what I'm saying? And that's why we entitled it Agenda FC. And it was only right that Lewis host this show with me in it, because he's one of the few fans I know who is actually more shameless than me. So yeah, Agenda FC. If you haven't seen it before, like I said, myself, Lewis, or a special guest, getting your strong opinions across. This is the place to do it. You know what I'm saying? This is the place to land. And as you can see from the title, it says, is Andreas Christensen overrated? So we had to bring another Chelsea fan on. A very special guest, works extremely hard. You can catch him on GNA TV. You can catch him on the terrace. Another Chelsea fan on
He has the biggest agendas in Chelsea YouTube as well. What are you saying, bro?
I like Jem in the building. Yes, Jem, what are you saying?
Yes, guys. Thanks for having me on, man. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a minute still. We was just discussing that beforehand when was the last time you've been on. But yeah, man, a Gem is here. Obviously, these people's, you know what I'm saying? So this is the place to get opinions off. But as you can see, people, is Andreas Christensen overrated? So I'm going to give it to the special guest. I let him land. I'm going to let him give his case as to why he believes Andreas Christensen is overrated. Bear in mind, we have the guy who invented the AC penitentiary. So yeah, Gem, take it away.
Yeah, look, I ain't got... First of all, I want to make it very clear. I do not hate Christensen. I don't hate any player.
Yeah.
You're gonna let me just speak, yeah? Let me just
I'll let you speak. I want continuing a sentence.
Because if you're gonna start doing that, I'm just gonna ruin you every time you speak. So just let me talk, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Go on.
Anyway, shush.
Go on, man.
Look, at the end of the day, Christensen is a good player. He's a good defender, and this season he's played well under Tuchel. My thing is not only just with Christensen, it's more of a fan base thing at the moment, where you probably know yourself, Flawless. If you go back 10 years ago, you know, I don't think it's as strong as it is now in terms of player agendas. Like, you know, my only agenda is for my football club, not my player. Yeah. The only problem I have with today's fans, especially our own fans, Chelsea fans, is I don't feel like you can criticize a player without being thrown under the bus. When I come across and I say, I don't think Christensen is as good as Lewis thinks he is, and then Lewis says he thinks he's Ballon d'Or, you know, best player in the world. Yeah, bollocks. Yeah, let's be serious. Yeah.
If they win the Euros.
He can run with it. The thing with me with Christensen is this, and it's not just with Christensen. I name a couple of other players along with it, the Jorginhos, and I've said this in the past about them as well. They're all playing very well at the moment. My biggest thing with our players are two things. One is consistency. Consistency is important throughout a career. I don't think he's been as good as he has been now than what he has been in previous seasons at Chelsea. That's my opinion. All right. So, and for me, I think look, Lewis has got this little agenda thing on. Right. Every morning I wake up, I think every time I open my eyes, I go on Twitter and I see an image of Christensen's face just sitting there, him putting, people in prisons and whatever, and it's funny, but deep down inside, I know he's shameless. I know he's Mr. King shameless, but deep down inside, I know he actually partly believes this is true. And that's partly a part of my issue with it as well, that he genuinely thinks that Christensen...
Yeah, bro. Yeah, London's claret and blue too.
But anyway, look, for me, it's just like I said, it's being allowed to criticise players, especially players that I don't think have been fully consistent throughout their Chelsea career. And number two, this is the other thing as well. Eventually, Tuchel's going to have to switch systems. He might have to change things up. Every team after a while gets found out in some sort of way. So have we got the players to be able to adapt to certain systems? And I think with Christensen, there's a question mark there. Jorginho, there's a question mark there. I think if you go back into a back four with Rudiger and a Christensen playing as a back four, they wouldn't be as solid as they are in a back three than what they are. Yeah. Do you see what I mean? Like there's a lot of question marks around it. So my point is, I'm not going to be sitting on the gas train for players, because for me, there's criticisms that need to be answered or things that needs to be seen moving forward. Do you know what I mean? So that's just the way I feel with it. You know what I mean, that's my overall feeling with Chelsea and our players.
Well, no, I get what you're saying there in terms of being. You make a great point. Yes, the system thing could be a change. All centre backs pretty much look better in a back three than they do in a back two. So yes, going Rudiger and Christensen in a back two without Thiago Silva in a flat back four, 100%.
Does it work?
Raises more questions. It definitely raises more questions, 100%. So I get what you're saying. Lewis, I'll let you respond now as the Chelsea. I'm just going to mediate here. So yeah, go on.
Oh, no, I was just going to say I heard a whole load of waffle for about 7 minutes, but here we are. I don't even think Christensen's underrated anymore. I think we got to the point where if you don't rate Christensen, you don't really know ball like that. We're now having Christensen and Ruben Diaz debates. I think he's right in the position where he should be. And if Denmark win the Euros, he's going to be in an even better position. By the way, Winter Surfer saying don't beef, it's not good on the chat. You are taking the piss, my guy, but pick up yourself anyway. But yeah, Christensen has had an amazing 2021. I'd go out and say he's had a great season overall. It's just first half of the season, he didn't really play too much. But the only bad game that he had was not even in the first half of the season. It was the Manchester City game. Manchester City final few weeks of the season where he was getting done by Ruben Diaz for the whole first half. Other than that, I dare anyone to find me a bad game that he's had this season.
I'll give you an example. Kissing Mane's ass and getting sent off at home against Liverpool when we lost 2-0. Do you remember that one? Do you remember when he went that?
Yeah, do you also remember the goal? Do you also remember the goal line clearance in the first half as well? He had a great first half.
I also remember when he came on when we went 10 men down.
It's a mistake. You're gonna come up here and do up KZ Hive, Kurt Zuma Hive, and all of that, but this guy nearly cost us Spurs away.
He was meant to come on and make us defensively stronger against West Brom. He came on after we went down to 10 men, and we allowed West Brom to score 5 fucking goals. You can all sit there and blame Zuma, but Christensen was at the back with Zuma at the same time. You can't just criticise one, you criticise them all. And that's my thing. He didn't play well.
You're going to say you criticise one, you criticise them all, but you've just blamed Andreas Christensen for being subbed on and conceding 5 to West Brom.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know. You just said to me just now. You just sat there.
You have. I have.
You try and name me another game where he hasn't performed, and I've just given you Liverpool. I've given you the West Brom game.
West Brom game. I've seen the replays how many times. He weren't responsible for any of the goals.
There you go. But that's your agenda running high again, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
No, it's not.
That's the way you're viewing it.
Okay, was obviously, and when you concede 5 goals,
the replays back up on the screen now.
When you concede 5 goals, yes, you have to look at the defense as a whole. But if I remember correctly, because I was trying to go at Lewis about that, I'm asking you, Jem, because you're no better than me. Was he at fault for any of the goals?
There was one goal, and I think it might have been the first one. The goalie kicks the ball. It goes over every single player's head, including Christensen, and they score from it, from one kick. Now,
the ball went down on Zuma's side, by the way.
Everyone sits there and blames Zuma straight away. It's Zuma's fault. It's Zuma's fault. He should have covered.
Yeah, because as far as I remember, Zuma was responsible for 2 of the goals.
He was playing middle of that centre-back, where I think it might have been Pereira had run through him, and he just left him to run onto the ball. So do you know what I mean? It's easy to sit there and it's not his fault. That whole game wasn't his fault, Flawless. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here saying it's Christensen's fault, but there's areas or moments in games where you think, where was the discipline? Where was the concentration? Do you know what I mean? In times, and that's it.
Yeah, the ball literally, the first goal, the ball literally drops next to Kurt Zuma.
The ball goes
so
over.
I don't know what you're on about for the first goal, but
next to Kurt Zuma, they're all up the
ball
pitch.
drops right next to him. I'm watching it.
No, stop it.
I am literally watching it.
Let me get this up.
One ball over the top. It comes up right. Pereira is next to Zuma.
1 second. Let's watch this.
Yeah, you watch it, Jem. Everyone, whilst you are, whether you're watching this live or watching this back, let's get the likes
so
up.
that's the first goal.
Get shares up, subscribe to the channel.
Goal.
So what we're saying in the chat as well, give us your thoughts. The first goal we're talking about. So when West Brom beat Chelsea 5-2, we're talking about the first goal in particular.
The second goal, everyone's put under pressure by a poor pass from Reece James. And to be honest, West Brom do really well with it.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh
but
my
yeah, Bambo. I agree with this goal.
For that, when the player was next to Christensen and ran off Christensen and he just jogged back.
No, he didn't. He's right next to Zuma.
Let me have a look at this.
Player. Zuma had to then track back because
he's right next to Zuma.
He didn't follow his player. What are you talking about?
I'm having a look at this. I'm literally having a look at this now because I can't remember off the top of my head.
The man runs down onto
Zuma's side.
Shush your agenda. 1 second, right?
I'm watching the highlights now. I'm watching the highlights
Premier League clip, yeah? Watch the third clip that they show and you'll see where Pereira runs from and where he ends up. And then he's now want to blame Zuma because he's on Zuma's side apparently.
Well, he runs down. He runs down onto Zuma's side in the back three. And what, you want Andreas Christensen? You want Christensen to run off with him and leave the player on the left?
Right, so long ball over the top.
Christensen to run off him, and then he's left in a 2v1 situation. He can just put a sweaty goal to the left.
It was the clips, you'll see.
Okay, 1 second. So it was the
it'll be different angles.
The long ball over the top and Robertson chipped the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure we got the correct one.
Look at where he runs from.
Right. You know what? In the private chat, send me the link. Obviously, I'm watching the Sky Sports.
I see what he's trying to say. But if Christensen tracks that runner, he leaves the guy on the left exposed, and it's just an easy pass to the left, and it's 1-0.
Then is it? That's a defensive problem which Christensen is a part of. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's to do with them.
He's not directly responsible. The ball comes down onto Zuma's side
because Zuma has a man, and Christensen has a man. So the thing is, I think I look at them both collectively. Why is one long ball doing that to you both?
Exactly.
The line's wrong. The line. I know you were down to 10 men. That's between the two. The line is wrong. The line's wrong, and that falls on Zuma. That falls on Christian.
These guys come high up at the wrong time, and they get caught out by the long ball. You're correct.
He was too high. But
that's on whoever the two fullbacks were as well. And I think the goal, you're two. There's no way one long ball should do that. The fullbacks,
Alonso's disappeared, and Reece James is by the centre circle.
No, maybe not. What was Bambo's?
I didn't look at the other goals though.
The second goal, like I said, was Reece James's poor pass, puts everyone under pressure.
I don't remember all the other goals to be fair, so I'm looking.
I'm having a look now. Well, yeah, that one I'm blaming. Is Christensen at fault? Yeah, but no one's solely at fault.
The third goal, no midfield.
It's a collective. You know what? I just see it is a collective fault. He did spin off Christensen, but I'm not going to blame him. When you see the replay, he did spin off.
The Reece James pass that puts everyone under pressure.
No, I'm talking about the first goal still. Well, yeah, I'm
having a look. First goal, he comes through the middle, but then goes to the left. That's Christensen. Why are you going to have two men go after the same player and leave someone free on the left?
Yeah, but he was next to Christensen. He was Christensen's man at the time.
That's not his fault. Christensen's guy was the guy on the left. He weren't Pereira.
Yeah, that's like I say, that's definitely
the third goal, no midfield.
No, the second goal was it's Alonso.
The fourth goal, Mason Mount gets absolutely spun, and there's still no midfield, and Kurt Zuma's jogging on the way back.
With the third goal, and again, it's not, it is partly to do with Christensen as well. All of them.
They're
all ball watching. They're all ball watching. They're not going to the ball. Look at where Pereira meets that ball.
Yeah, do you know where the ball watching is coming from? It's coming from the midfield.
But this is my point with Christensen. It's the discipline. It's the concentration.
I've just told you it came from the midfield, and you're talking to me about Christensen.
I can't blame Christensen. I've just seen the third goal. I can't blame him for that.
It's because we're talking about him at the moment. So I'm just trying to
because he's marking someone. In his defense, the third goal, the volley, Christensen is marking.
Right, so we found 3 goals, and Christensen hasn't been directly responsible for any of them.
He's not directly responsible. The first one I put on all.
You're not understanding him.
As a team, I don't mind. He conceded 5. I'm not going to take that away.
Yeah, because to me,
you guys are trying to pin it on Zuma. This is my thing with
I'm not trying to pin it on Zuma. I'm saying Zuma was to blame, Alonso was to blame, the midfield was meant to blame.
But what I'm trying to get at is he came on the pitch and we conceded 5 goals with him in the back. He was on the team. Do you know what I mean? I know
he's not directly responsible
but we
for
lost
any of
that game. All right, because we went down to 10 men, but because defensively, collectively, we wasn't good enough. And in the first, for me, the first goal, he left his man. So you can point a finger. That's my.
Not really. Anyway. You can point a finger if you have one of Jem's agendas.
Like I said,
not an agenda.
I think
that's an opinion.
Go on. I think you can because, like I said, when it's one long ball over the top, that's on both your centre backs. So I put mainly Zuma and Christensen down for the first goal in it. I wouldn't blame one more than the other. You might have to deal with that. If your line's right, one long ball should not be beating you. Like I'm here looking at the goals again where there's good movement, there's great play. The second and third goals, I don't think either of them are at fault for the second or third.
Do you want to go and look at the Liverpool game at home when he kisses Mane?
The fifth goal, Zuma gets done easily and he jogs back.
Why? Can I ask you a question? Why ain't the Liverpool game a poor game for Christensen? Because you said it, you didn't even mention that as one of these bad games.
Because he had a good 45 minutes and a stupid red card.
Exactly. Discipline, concentration. That's what I keep saying.
It was a bad moment, but you're going to talk about Kurt Zuma. Great player in the back.
My point. You're putting
the only difference is Tottenham didn't make us pay for it, but Liverpool did.
You're putting him in the top tier level, which he's not. That's my point. It's still areas.
He is at the top tier level. He is at the top tier level.
That's your opinion.
What's he done this year other than improve?
Yeah, but look, he's had a very good season. Me coming on here and arguing about Christensen in this season is stupid because if we go based on what we're looking at and what we've seen, face value, he's been very good. Even I've said this to you many times, but I'm not going to sit there and allow this season garnish that he's discipline and his concentration is still an issue because his whole Chelsea career for me hasn't been how it is this season. Because why? Because Tuchel's found a system that suits him and is getting the best out of him. And that's cool. But what happens when we have to switch the formation and we have to do something differently? Can he put the same levels of performance?
Everyone's biggest debate about Andreas Christensen, the back four, is that he's too weak. And now he's bulked up and got stronger. He already has the football IQ and he's already technically sound. So why can't he play in a back four?
So then for me, it's just a longevity game. I want to see these performances going into next season, and that's what I said to you.
So, he's taking his form into the Euros, so
fine. He's took his form to Euros, and because why? Because they're playing a system again that suits him. Back three, he plays that for Chelsea.
So what you're saying is
he's playing with worse players around him.
Well, you could argue that Vestergaard's a good.
You mean you could argue? We're going to say Vestergaard's better than Thiago Silva?
No, but yes, Vestergaard's a good
defender. He's better than
quite highly rated in the Premier League, is he not? People looking at him as a decent defender.
No, he's not. Allow it, man. He's not. Come on.
What was you going to say, Flawless? Anyway.
I was just letting you go in that. I was going to say. So when you say that about Christensen, you're looking at it next season. Has he found a new level, or has he just overachieved this season in terms of his performance? Which is a fair assessment. You're going to see consistent because Lewis, I think you would agree this is Christensen's best season in a Chelsea shirt. This season just got.
Oh, definitely. But we're not going to act like it's his only good season. He was good in 18-19. He was good in 17-18 too.
Okay, so he's good in both of them.
I've said the first 4 months for Andreas Christensen, the first team for Chelsea, he was one of the best defenders in the league then too. And he was only just stepping foot into the Premier League. His composure was ridiculous in his first season at Chelsea. But everyone just remembers the Barca mistake. People are defined by their mistakes. It happens to footballers all the time.
The other thing with Christensen as well, and it has been since he's been at Chelsea, is if he's been playing as well as he thinks he's played, why can't he consistently stay in the team? Why is he always put on the bench for other individuals that come in? Or do you know what I mean?
Rotation.
Like, it's not just rotation though, is it? It's rotation this season because Tuchel's done that with the whole team. He's been doing that with the whole team. Did he get in? Was he getting in the Frank Lampard team?
The first season. We were switching that defense the entire time. We had 22 different defensive formations in 41 games.
Yeah, I agree
Wow.
that because none of them were consistent. We were lacking a leader. We
Right,
did have a
so
Thiago
there was
Silva,
none of them.
so-
And that was a system problem
Yeah.
under Lampard and Kepatax.
Yeah, but he still suffered from it. He's still, again, he
Right,
still
so did
isn't
Zuma,
the
so
player he
did
is now.
Tomori, so did
So
Rudiger.
it's kind of answering my questions, isn't it? Tuchel's found a system that gets the best out of him, but can he do that in another system and under another manager? Maybe in a back four, maybe in another, I don't know, another position at the back for him to play. I don't know. These are things that I'm waiting to see.
Well, he won a European Cup with Sarri in a back four, so I'm not too worried.
Again,
Took us
he
to
played
top four as well
Yeah.
in the back four with Sarri. United
Fair
away,
enough.
Liverpool
But
away.
then you could say the same thing about Kepa, and I
Everton
don't even
away.
rate Kepa. So at the end of the day, yeah, he's been in teams that have won things. Has he played consistently in these competitions? He hasn't. He's played when he's been called up on, when we've had injuries in our squad. He started, but he's never been the first starter. He's never been the first starter at Chelsea. Only this season. And even this season, he's been playing.
But before that, he was developing. 18-19, Sarri didn't really trust him. He wanted to go for more experienced centre-backs. Cool, I understand that.
Cool.
I've got nothing against that. We had Christensen play the majority of the run to the final in the back four, and it was fine.
So do you believe he's developed to be? Do you believe he's developed now to kick on moving forward? Like what Flawless said, is he hit his
biggest weakness is that he was weak, and he's not weak anymore.
Okay, so cool. So is nothing else in his game that you think he needs to improve? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Right now, he can play the ball out of the back well. He's defensively solid. His concentration's good. He wins his aerial duels. He's strong. What's he lacking?
So then, in that case, if he's ticking
Pace,
the boxes,
no. This guy was outrunning Mane the entire time at Anfield.
Fine. Then all he needs then is to be consistent in his levels that he's been this season. That's the only thing I've been
throughout 2021. Consistent. 16 games, 16 clean sheets.
Half a season. Half a season he's been consistent.
You asked for consistency. You asked for consistency. He's had regular game time and regular clean sheets.
Then fine. Going into next season, 38 games, 4 competitions. I want to see him playing, and I want him to be playing at the level that he has. And he can have a bad game here and there because every player does. But I want him to perform at the levels that he has been. That's all I'm saying.
But he has been. So again, the question: how is Christensen overrated?
I've never said he's overrated. I've never said to you he's overrated. He's never. That's never came out of my mouth.
You saw this man last night. You thought I talk about Christensen too much. Christensen came out of his mouth at every other sentence.
You do what all the other agendas in our fan base do. The Jorginhos, the Werners or whatever, right? You only listen to what you want to listen. You only take in what you want to take in as well. I say the same thing consistently all the time. I am consistent with my words.
Right. What does Christensen lack for you other than consistency? Because he has been consistent.
Huh?
What does Christensen lack for you other than consistency? Because he has been consistent.
Discipline.
What does he lack in terms of technical ability?
Discipline.
So when you say discipline, you're talking about. I heard you mention the mistakes at Liverpool. So because Lewis said he had a good 45 minutes at Anfield, and then he got sent off. And then when you say discipline, you put that in. So I've heard you mention that multiple times just in the shot, because this is the first time I've heard you on Christensen mention his concentration and his discipline. And you're worried about, is he just a good player having a very good season and he might drop back down to a good level or average level or a decent level? I understand where you're coming from. Obviously, I don't watch Christensen week in, week out to know. Obviously, used to have much more knowledge on that than I do.
Flawless, put it that way. If he does drop down to that level, you won't see me sitting there going, "Ha ha, I told you." That won't happen. For me, I never put him up there in the fucking first place. Do you know what I mean? I've always said he's playing very well. He's here. He's doing very well at the moment. If he can continue with that level, then I might sit down and think to myself, "Do you know what? He's proved me wrong. He's proved that. He's the moments in games where he needs to be cautious. Not be ball watching, not be, little things like that. If that all improves and he can be consistent in his performance, because he is very good. He is very good at distributing. That's his strength. He's so good with the ball.
Ball playing. He does look decent to me when I see him ball playing. He does. And obviously because of Lewis's shamelessness with him, I'm watching closely when Chelsea play. Like when you can see the goal, I'm just waiting to get like when he made the mistake at Manchester City, I was like, yeah, boom. You know what I'm saying? I'm straight on to lose. But from what I've seen, obviously, he has looked good. But like you're telling me, Lewis has said this is his best. Yeah, this is his best season. You both agree this is his best season so far. Lewis says he was good in a couple seasons prior as well. You're saying not so much so. So now I
don't have an emotional attachment to players. That's the problem. Like at the moment, I look at the players that we got, and none of them at the moment are legends. They're not like a Lampard, a Terry, a Drogba. There's not that feel. Even none of them are legends. I felt that with Hazard. All right, N'Golo Kante to a degree, and even maybe an Aspie. There's an argument there. Yeah,
of course,
as they have to be legends. I think it's early now, but Kai Havertz is already setting himself up perfectly.
Yeah, but my point is, I don't look at my players and put them all up here. What we have a problem in our fan base is we all what players we like and we run with it, and we don't choose to see where they can be criticised or where they can improve or what they could do to be the better player or become the better player. You know, and it's like when you do try and do that, or when you do say, "Hang on, Jorginho, he's had a good season, but." Can he play alone DM? Would he get caught? Would he get caught if someone got around him? Would he be able to recover? Can he progress the ball forward a bit more? Because I don't think he progresses the ball forward enough, quick enough. Some games, like like that's just criticism. That's not me hating on a player. That's just me wanting to see.
And you know what? That's a fair criticism because obviously, Jim, I know you want the best for Chelsea, as does Lewis. So I get your point in terms of as soon as you criticize a player who plays for your team, fan base get onto you. Like your players are not above criticism. We all want the same things for our club. I want the same thing for Manchester United. But if I get onto a player, people will be on my case about it. Like, why do you rate it? Or even the manager so much. Obviously, it's a massive topic.
There's nothing wrong with criticism. Like Man City game, you think I hid from anything? I said he was terrible that whole first half.
I didn't watch that game.
I didn't say nothing about that. Oh no, it was a mistake or something. No, it was shocking. You got done how many times before the goal?
Did he get injured as well?
He got injured in the build-up to that goal. Yeah. It was a horrendous first half.
Yeah, he was.
Call it as I see it. It's what it is.
Discipline, though, isn't it? Again, it goes back to what I just said to you earlier. It's the discipline. It's them moments, you know.
That's one game. That's one game in 18, bro. Like bad games happen.
Fine. And that's what I said.
I think that is one thing you both agree on. That is in his last 15, 16, you get me, to 20 games, he has been good. He has been consistent. Yes. You haven't seen a concentration lapses. And if he starts next season and he has a good season like that, then that's how you look at it. I understand as well about
the whole season. It's only been the Liverpool mistake and the Man City game. Other than that, he hasn't had a bad game.
Yeah, they make it worse. They make it worse because he's high profile. You know what I'm saying? Let me check his numbers actually. I'll see how many games he's actually played. Go on, Jim. Say what he's going to say.
No, I was just going to say, I don't think he's played consistently, especially at the beginning of the season. So it's hard to say he's been very good all season. When I look at players that don't play as much, I can't sit there and say he's had a good season. He didn't play.
He played most of the group stages, and not the cup games. Were out in the first round.
You know, he was in and out. There was rotations.
Most of the group stage matches.
I get what you're saying because in the Premier League he did play. I don't know about stats here, so someone put it in the chat. But he played 17 games in the league. He played 17 games in the league. He played 7 games in Europe. Because the Lampard
Silva got into the team, it was just Zuma Silva.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I get what you lot are saying. So here's the thing: that's
the difference with me and Lewis. He thinks he's been great, and I don't think he's been great. I hold my criticisms. That is literally it. You know, I don't hate him. I don't hate Lewis. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You couldn't even say you don't hate him with a straight face. After last night, I am sure you hate him. I am 100% sure you hate him.
I don't hate him. I don't hate anyone. Don't be stupid. I don't hate my own player.
Or maybe it's the alcohol talking, but the way you trust me, if you saw the amount of times this guy brought up Christensen out of nowhere.
Yeah, but
are you me or what?
I was trolling him the whole night. I'm sitting there winding him up. This guy's walking around with a Christensen.
So it was trolling now.
Under his jumper to show me that he's got Christensen on his back. I'm like, what's going on here?
It was a hot day. I just wanted to take my jumper off. That was it.
Daniel here says Villa at Stamford Bridge, 3 games out of 17. Obviously, you lot.
Villa wasn't bad. Everyone just takes that injury like it was anything serious. If anything, it shouldn't have even got to that point because there was a handball in the build up to that goal. But whatever, we'll go for a 50-50 tackle as being his fault. But whatever.
Prime says this. He says, Lewis, I think, love to everyone in the comments as well. Lewis, I think what we want to see is consistency over the course of the season, the whole season. And he put whole in capital letters.
Cool. We've seen halfway through the season with some of the toughest games of the season. against some of the biggest teams of the season, when we've also said this guy doesn't turn up in the big occasions, and he's done it. This guy's thrown away nearly every single doubt about him in the last 6 months.
You can do that, Abdi. You know, big up to Abdi as
Abdi
well.
says here, yeah, you're a football fan, Jem. Be enthusiastic. You're allowed to hype your players. Why can't we put our players to a level? We want them to that perk of being a fan.
That's cool.
Our players.
I've never ever said don't put the players where you want to put them, but allow fans that ain't seeing what you're seeing criticize them. If there's something that they feel is something they need to improve on in a certain aspect, then you need to be allowed to allow them to have that opinion, or at least be open-minded to what they're saying. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people, as soon as you say something against the player agenda, someone like a Jorginho, for example, if you said Jorginho wasn't good this game, it'd be like, oh, you hate him. You always say bad things about him.
He just had a bad game. Right. That single game. I think there's a fine line between that. Yes, as a fan, but I think overrate is the wrong word. I think gas him up. Like I'll do it with United players. I gas up Manchester United players, but I know the level our players are at, like in my opinion, innit? So if an average player has a great game, I'll gas him up for that game. That doesn't mean I think he's a great player. That doesn't mean I think that we don't need an improvement in that area, but I will gas him up. You know what I'm saying? I don't rate Lindelof. But in the past, I've called him the Iceman and gassed him up. Just running joke because I know JV doesn't like him. But I know the level he's hot. You know what I'm saying? Simply because. But you're supposed to. So I think overrate, that's just me. I think it's the wrong word. But gas him up, yes. Because you are a fan of that club and you do want the best. But you should be allowed to criticize without. But if the player's performing, that's when I look at it like, yo, the player's performing. How can we complain?
That's the only thing that pisses me off with it, Flawless. It's like you say something negative about an individual, then you just don't like him. And social media can do that quite quickly. It's like, you know, I've criticised Jorginho a number of times. I'm being told I don't like him. Yet all I've asked is for the same things of what I asked for Christensen. Same thing. I just want consistency and a bit of discipline in his game.
So you don't think Jorginho? You don't think he's been consistent? Obviously, from the outside looking in, I never understood the criticism from Chelsea fans of Jorginho.
Again, the same thing with him for me. You know, like a good half season with Tuchel. He's had some bad games, in my opinion. You know, the Arsenal game where he passes the ball back and it goes in, and you know that lack of that concentration again, the discipline in that moment. You know, he's who was it as well where Thiago Silva got sent off? Was that with West Brom?
It was West Brom.
You know, I think partly to the reason why Thiago Silva went off the pitch was to do with him again. Poor timings of his passing backwards, got caught. You know, and there's been moments with Jorginho where he's not been as good as people think he has been. But yet again, he's had a very good season, and he's in the same bracket as Christensen in that. They've both been very, very good, but they both need to show consistency, and they need to somehow, and they need, going into the season, I just need to see consistency, really, bro. That's all I can say with the two individuals.
I get what you're saying. Like I said in it, I'm just here trying to mediate because I don't watch Christensen closely like you used to do week in, week out. So I ain't gonna see the good things he does that may not get highlighted because you're not playing in a big game. And likewise, I might not see the mistakes he makes that don't lead to goals. You know what I'm saying? And that type of thing. This is why, for me as a United fan, this is why I get on Lindelof. Because he makes a lot of mistakes that don't lead to goals, and he gets pushed under the carpet. And then people say, "Oh, why?" He can be. Yeah, he can be. Yeah. And when he plays well, I'll give him his credit and say, even though I don't rate this player, he's had a good game. And I don't think people are more interested in being right than just calling it what it is. Like people talking about Maguire. Maguire was good yesterday, but he plays better in the back three. Speaking of centre backs, like most centre backs do. But again, if Maguire makes the mistake Lindelof makes in that game there, we're still talking about this show is probably about Maguire. This show is probably, but because it's Lindelof, everyone brushes it under the carpet. You're down to 10 men, last minute of a round 16 in the Euro 2020 competition. You're going into your own 6-yard box and you're marking nobody. And the guys in between you and the other centre back is held accountable. But if that's Sane whipping that in and Muller's in between Maguire and Stones, best believe that Maguire is getting stick for that. Best believe, but because it's 100%. Lindelof, no one mentions anything. Same with the goal in the Europa League final as well. Closest guy, where I think it was, was it Moreno who scored the goal? Can't remember the name of the Villarreal player. Moreno. Guess who the closest person is to him when Moreno's sticking it in the back of the net? Man like Lindelof in that. And you're the senior centre back because you're playing next to Axel. But again, because it's not Maguire, and bear in mind, I don't think Maguire is good enough. But Lindelof gets off scot-free. And then because of that, Lewis is always trying to start this VL hive bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And look at him. You know what I'm saying? Getting done by Ukrainian strikers. But man, we're trying to tell me literally on last week that, Maguire hides, Lindelof don't. And we see the example. Prime example. And your country's gone out of competition because of that. Why are you marking nobody? responsibility, hiding. You know what I'm saying? And that, go watch it back, people. You know what I'm saying? It's like, he's just not good enough, but it is what it is. I am going to put the link in the chat as well. Obviously, any Chelsea fans want to jump on and get involved in this debate. Also, I'm just dropping it in the YouTube. I can see Prime's in there, Johnny's in there, Winter Surfer, Daniel, all of you lot. If anyone wants to jump on and continue, Black Diamond here, so smash the likes up. Free quality here. Yeah, man, we have great debates over here. It's only right. Easy 92 here says facts, man. Some people just want to be right as opposed to supporting the club. I don't think Jem does that with Christensen. I don't get that vibe from him. I think he just wants the best from Christensen and Jorginho and his players, etc. But here's a question I have for both of you. If you lot have been linked with a centre back, if you do sign a top centre back, obviously he's going to play. Thiago Silva's going to play. Who misses out? Because you've got Reece James who can play right side as a centre back. Aspilicueta can, Christensen, Rudiger. Who misses out?
Depends on the centre.
Do you answer that one? Because I know it is.
Okay, let's say it's a left-sided centre back you sign. Who misses out? Say it's a left-sided centre back you
if
sign.
It's a left-sided centre back. It's Rudiger because he's the only one that plays left-sided.
Okay, all right. Let's say it's a right-sided centre. Yeah, let's say it's right-sided.
Then it's probably Christensen. Christensen's meant to be rotating with Silva in the centre anyway this season. And with the amount of games that we have this season planned, we could potentially be looking at a 69-game season again like we did in 2012. So if I see Christensen out the lineup for a few games, I ain't going to cry about it. You got 69 games for the season. It's going to happen. I'm fine with it. He's been prepped up to take over when Silva's gone. So I don't mind. He's the heir to the throne.
The only thing I think we really miss in the back still, and it's gonna, once Thiago Silva goes, it's gonna be something that I feel like we're gonna be back to square one a bit. Is the leadership aspects, and I don't think Christensen, I don't think Zuma. You could maybe argue Rudiger, but even him, I don't think he's got a big enough mouth. I don't think we really have enough leaders in the team. And when you look at the old Chelseas of that have won things, you know, and you look at the core, you always had leaders from defence to midfield and strike. And I just feel like, would we be back to square one? And could Christensen, like, there's a lot of talks about Christensen being a leader. I don't think, to be honest, I don't think he can do that. I don't think he's a vocal enough player to do that, if that makes sense. I think he's good at what he does. I just don't think one of his qualities is getting behind the squad, getting them, you know, revved up when they're 1-0 behind, you know, just being a John Terry, throwing himself into tackles, like that kind of character. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I get what you're saying.
He definitely throws himself into tackles, but in terms of being vocal, that needs to come. That's not there yet. I think Rudiger would make a good leader. Christensen, it will come in time. It's not there yet. That's fine. But yeah, we will miss out on the leadership when Thiago Silva's gone. That's going to be felt a little bit. But I mean, Christensen's got a season to get his voice up. Rudiger already knows going to shout, and then depends on who we bring in centre back anyway. But
I don't think you can force that. Yeah, I don't think you can force that on someone though. I just think if you're not a leader, you're not a leader. You know that yourself, Flawless. If you're not someone that's vocal, you can't just become vocal and start shouting around.
You don't just become vocal, but you can become not vocalizing, but you can become more lead by. You can take more responsibility. You can kind of lead by example. You can kind of do that. Yeah.
I'd build on that and say you can't become vocal overnight. You can become over time. Once you become a bit more comfortable in yourself, you understand the game more, you understand positions where you want your partners to be, you vocalize it a lot more. You become more used to that. It's just a pattern of time.
I think it's more of the mentality of the player.
Before I cut off because Daniel's here talking. Daniel, go watch the goal again about Lindelof. This is what I'm talking about, people defending him. I know it's not about him. I just watched it again. Lindelof is the closest man to him. He ran off short initially outside the box, I believe. Maybe Pogba as well. I can't remember who else it was. But that's my point. You're the senior centre-back. Take responsibility as well. Why are you marking nobody in your 6-yard box? He's done it then. He done it yesterday. He got done by... I can't remember the guy's name. He plays for West Brom. As Aaron called him, the B-Tech Mane. If you look at the Salah goal he scored in the FA Cup, Lindelof moves away from him. You get me? Lindelof moves away from Salah. Now the black guy with the blue streak. Is it Diami? Is that his name?
Oh yeah,
Diang.
Yeah, Diang or something like that. Yes,
Diang,
or something like that. But that's my point. I've just named 4 off the top of my head, and I have a bad memory. And I'm not saying Maguire is the answer. I'm just saying he gets off scot-free. When he plays well, I give him credit. Because when he plays well, he does play. His distribution, similar to Christensen, his distribution I have no issue with. We're talking about leaders. I want him to take more responsibility. You're a full international. You're in your mid-20s. You've been around. You played Champions League. Like, take more responsibility. But let's get to some of the callers who are calling in. Shout out Wayne in the building. Yes, Wayne, what are you telling us? You good?
Yes, Wayne.
Yeah, like my name says. Yeah, Lewis, read it. Yeah, that's my fault. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, Wayne. So give us your thoughts then. Why do you believe? Do you think that Christensen is overrated, underrated? Give us your thoughts on it.
Look, he's a Chelsea fan. I'm always going to be behind him as a Chelsea fan, right? But Jem brings up the right opinions and the right points, and Lewis cannot keep on hiding behind Christensen's mask he's got and everything else he's got with Christian, even the baby toys and all that. We know he loves him, but it's a fact of he makes mistakes. When he's in a 2, he makes mistakes. When he's a 3, he doesn't, and he can't. And he's not going to be a leader for us. He's not that sort of player. It's like what James basically said is all damn right, and I love Lewis keeps on arguing a point, but Lewis just got no leg to stand on right at this point. He needs facts. And unfortunately, I love him to pieces. He's my boy, but...
Wait, I can't lie. You haven't specified anything.
It's such a brutal... Leave him alone, man.
I can't lie, man. You haven't specified much. You just said he can't really play in the back too.
Yes.
And he's got stronger as well.
Wayne, you have to explain why. So why do you believe that he can't play in the back 4? What are the deficiencies he has that he's not as good in the back 4 as he is in the back 3? What's the issue?
You can tell he's not confident on the ball. He's not got the
Christensen isn't confident on the ball.
On the back 2, when he's a back 4, he's not as confident. It's like there's too much pressure for him.
I don't agree with you on that still.
When you can see, it's literally he's not effective like he would be in the back 3. Like in the back 4, he's no effect. He makes mistakes, and what he does, like running with the ball when he runs out, what he's done in the back 3 and other things like that, he doesn't do that because he can't. It feels like I can't explain it. Like
basically, yeah. Wayne, what you're trying to say is in a back 4, he can't use his strengths, and his strengths is his distribution. When you play a back 4, you're not allowed to run out and make 5-10 yards runs and play a ball to the side. And you have to hold your position. You have to work with your centre back, and you can't. It kind of nullifies his strengths in many ways. You're asking him to defend more than distribute. As with this Tuchel system, we play from the back, which allows you to distribute. Do you know what I mean? We heavily rely on us building up from the back. So that's why you get the best out of him, because he sees the ball more. You won't see the ball as much.
But we've been playing out the back since Sarri, since Conte, in fact. So again, I still don't know what you meant about.
We struggled with it, and Christensen was in that, in the back 4.
Yeah,
no, like we said, he was barely playing. He played 17-18 under Conte, didn't start games in the Premier League under Sarri, was rotated under Lampard, and is now in the team.
How many goals did we concede against Lampard? Under Lampard, how many goals did we concede in his first season playing back 4?
Oh, we conceded hella in the first season because he kept switching it up. He kept switching it up, and we had a hologram in goals, so of course we were.
All right, so fair do. So Wayne, obviously, I got to get through the rest of the calls. Basically, what you're saying is similar to Jem in terms of in a back 3, fine, but in a back 4, that's where you worry if it does switch.
Yeah.
I suppose that's a good scenario to have, to be honest. In the sense of you don't know when you're going to switch. This back 3 could stay. You know what I'm saying? And this back 3 could stay for the next 3 or 4 years. So you never know.
Can I say something before I go, Flores?
Yeah. Anytime.
Yeah.
Go on.
Right. Guys, please smash that like button. If you're new, subscribe, join the membership, follow everyone's on their YouTube and their socials. Twitch gang, keep on doing what you're doing well. Look at everyone, keep on smashing that like button because it's soon up to 3K. And when it's 3K, there's going to be a do going on. So let's keep on going. All right, let's go.
Yeah, man. Love, big up Wayne every time. You already know. Love to Wayne every time. Let's get to someone else in new on this. Welcoming Zane to the show. Yes, Zane, what are you telling us? Where you calling from and who's your team as well?
Chelsea, and I'm from Toronto, Canada.
Okay, big up, man. You know what I'm saying? All the way from the 6 and that. Let's go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let's go. All right, so Go on, give us your thoughts in it. Is Christensen overrated? Is he
So-
underrated? What's your thoughts on what's going on?
So I get both sides. I mainly agree with Lewis on this because I think 17, 18, he was good. Like the first 6 months till the Barcelona mistake, he grew into confidence. I think he was young, so that Barca mistake against a team like Barcelona, Champions League knockout, and you're playing so well in that game, that kind of it brought him down to earth, and he didn't recover for a while because I remember the Newcastle game as well. The last game of the season, we conceded 3. It was poor, and then 18, 19, he was okay. He was solid. He played well in the Europa League, help us won, and I thought he would kick on from that. Lampard, it's Lampard, bro. You can't really judge him under Lampard, bro. Everyone was looking shit under Lampard first year. Second year, wasn't really playing. Second year, under Lampard, this first 6 months, I think he at times I understand where you see the discipline can be a problem because you're playing so well to go and get that red card. It's just like concentration a bit. But I think you have to give him because he's picked up on that the weaknesses of strength, which I think has always been a bit overblown, in my personal opinion. I see where it's been a weakness, but I think he's definitely improved on it, and he's continuing to improve on it. And his ball playing ability has always been without question because he can play 60-yard pins left to right. He can do that. That's one of his main abilities as a player, and I think in the Danish team, that's why he can play as a 6. He's not going to control the tempo, but he could keep the match ticking a bit, and he could do his role defensively because he could read the game very well. So I think in this team, going forward, I think he could be important for this team. I don't think he can be a captain because I don't think he has the characteristics as I think his mentality. I think his mentality is good, but I don't think he can lead the team. I think that's more of a Mason Mount role, but he can be a vice captain, and who knows? He's been at Chelsea so long. He's played with some great players. He hasn't played with Terry and those guys, but he's seen how they've led the team. Maybe he could do it as a vice captain role, and who knows? But that's what I
get
think
what you're
about
saying there.
Christensen.
The points you made there, like you said, everyone being bad under Lampard, etc., but he's done well outside of that. But no, let me ask you though, Zane, do you worry about him in a back 4, or do you think he'll be okay if you do change to a back 4, which could or couldn't happen? It could happen this season because it could all go terribly wrong, or it might be 3-4 years down the line and Tuchel's still playing him in the back 3. So what's your thoughts on that?
In a back 4, personally, I believe he can do the job. I don't think he can do it as good as a 3 because I think he's more comfortable under 3, and that's why he looked better under Conte. But he can do the job in the 4. It's just if we look at it, the last couple of years, his partners in the 4 haven't been up to par as well. So it's not been the best generation of Chelsea center backs in the past couple of years. So I think even like the last couple of years as a whole as Chelsea, I remember we were getting linked with Peter Crouch January 2018. There was a point it was looking downhill. Ashley Barnes and like that, bro. And Lewis remembers that. I used to watch Lewis back then, bro. He knows that.
I said Ashley Barnes. Sure. Oh, sorry, it just cracked me up. I did not expect you to say that. I didn't know where that was going, did it? That's why that's
what a horrendous season.
I said Ashley Barnes.
It was. No, look, I agree with what you're saying. I think the thing that worries with me, it's not that I feel like he can't do a job in the back 4. I just think it limits his strengths because we know that he's good on the ball. One of the things that we know he hasn't been good at in the past is when you play in the back 4, you're asked to defend more so. Yeah, you got to hold your position. You're going to have to come up against people like Dominic Calvert-Lewin, be able to tussle with them, be sharp in the box, hold your positions well. It becomes more like you have to work well with the person you're next to. So if it's a Thiago Silva, it's a Rudiger, it's more of a, you have to be on the same page sort of thing. But I just think, look, I think in the back 3, if we can keep going with the way it is, why don't change something that's working. I always agree with that. You don't change what's making us successful and has done, but there will come a time where we will get found out, and he will have to adapt. And then once Tuchel has to adapt, is then when the question marks start coming out about players playing in these positions, and we'll see, mate. Only time will tell. Maybe he has, because I know Lewis is saying he's improved on his strength. He's better in the air now. These are things that he will need to have if he's going to be playing in a back 4. Does that make sense? So
I think that I think the biggest thing with Christensen is though, like this is to kind of back up Lewis's point, right? Is we seen the Christensen from 2018 to 2021 as that Barcelona mistake. He made that mistake against Man City, not in a big magnitude, but it was an important game where he got injured. He was horrendous. He made that mistake. If that was Christensen 2018, he comes in the final against Man City and he drops a stinker. But I think he's matured as a player big time because now he can come in and do that role. So he's maturing as a player, he's maturing as a man, he's maturing. Everything about him has matured. Even on the ball, he was good originally and he's got better. So I think it's just time. Some players are just like that. They need more time to develop.
Hey, what you saying, Zane? You go on, Lewis. I know you're gonna respond. I know you want to respond to that. But yeah, Zane, the comments.
Amazing point. Absolutely amazing points. I completely forgot about that one as well. Everyone says one mistake and then this guy absolutely falls apart. Did in 2018 and he hasn't done it now. The guy doesn't let mistakes hold him back anymore. Brilliant point. I didn't even get to that one. Amazing.
When he makes a mistake, he usually goes off injured anyway. That's what usually happens with him. So it's happened in the past.
I mean, well, the guy was out for a few games afterwards.
Yeah, I think he pretends he's injured, Flawless. I think he goes, "Oh shit!"
Man pretends he's injured. That's why he was out for the Arsenal game that we lost afterwards. We could have really done with him in the back line because we had Zuma instead with his zero ball IQ.
We played Barnsley away. Who did we play this season?
One thing I think about Zuma is this.
Was it Barnsley or? But I can't remember who it was. Yeah, he played right centre back.
It was Barnsley. Yeah,
right centre back. He got injured for going up with a header, which then I think led to a goal straight after that.
He got kicked in the head.
And it happened against Aston Villa. He got injured. He went with a ball with someone. I can't remember who it was. And he fell on the floor because he was out of position. Do
you want to know why? Because Andreas Christensen. No. Jem. 1 second. I'm really glad you brought up Aston. No, wait. I'm really glad that you brought up Aston Villa, where this guy always likes to drag himself off with injuries, right? But he kept himself on the field with an injury and injured himself further by playing on and was out for another month because of it. So thank you for bringing that one up there.
The goal came because he was out of position, and when they played the ball in the box, it's because he was
the goal came from a handball.
The goal really came from,
and it was a 50-50 foul, to be honest.
Yeah, go on, let Zane go before we let him go. Go on, Zane. Give us your thoughts on this in particular. This is interesting.
I think with the Aston Villa goal was, I think the thing with the Aston Villa goal is, I understand. The thing with the Aston Villa goal was it fed into the narrative of Christensen being soft. And I remember, what was it? The John Terry comment was like, "Oh, I would have got up," kind of thing. So it made like, "Oh, John Terry used to kind of back Christensen." Do you remember Chelsea to make those YouTube videos about Christensen's potential? And it was Terry like was waxing lyrical about Christensen, and it was like, "Oh, now we need to get him out. He's soft. He doesn't fit the profile." And I think that the mistake itself, it wasn't too much of a mistake. It's a 50-50. You have to go for the ball. And if he got hurt, and he played through the game, he could have easily walked off that pitch or rolled off that pitch. Like we've seen with players like Marcus Alonso, if you want to see it. People like that. I don't even like to dig on Marcus Alonso. I think at times he does get unfair criticism. Same with Christensen. But I think there's some players in this fan base. There's some players who they like to hate on players too much, and I don't think Jem is hating on Christensen at all, because I think I don't think there's anything Jem would like more than to be proved wrong about Christensen, because he wants what's best for the club. And that's the same thing with Flawless, with Lindelof and Maguire, because we all want what's best for our club. We want to win.
Yes, 100%.
Well, I know Man U, they want to get back to the glory days. That's a long while back, but
all right. Let's that. Get me. I opened the phone lines. You get me, for you to come on my channel, and you just taking shots at me. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's taking shots. It's all love, man. It's all good. But yeah, Zane, man, big up for calling. Yo, make sure you stay tuned in all the way from the 6th. That's gas me in that, me. Big up, man. Much appreciated you tuned in, yeah? But get through, man. Big up, Zane, yeah? Every time, man. Respect, man. Let's go to another regular who's on here. Timo is in the building. Yes, Timo, what are you telling me?
I'm just liking the view from the backstage, you know. You two arguing like a Tom and Jerry in that.
What's your thoughts on it, though? Is Andreas Christensen overrated? Is he underrated? Well, give us your thoughts on other things that have been said as well. We want to know what Timo thinks.
It feels kind of weird. Like, he's more of a JT's protege, I would say. And if you're going to talk about that goal against Aston Villa, he wasn't blamed for that goal, but he should definitely got up if he wasn't actually hurt, which he wasn't. Although in that case, Lampard was right saying that they should have went back to look at VAR on the challenge. But even though the VAR was a stretch in the priority, it's not going to stop the goal by itself. But it feels like a lot of people, scapegoating Christensen for a long time. But you have to admit he's been balling all out and ever since Tuchel came in, and it all comes down to that fine margin moments on how you taking the criticism out of Christensen. I think he's been brilliant ever since Tuchel came in. Coincidence? I don't think so. Back in the day when he was in the back three with Conte, he wasn't good. He wasn't that really good, the same as Tuchel, but he was okay. Under Sarri, I'm not sure really because he had a good moments, patch moments in that. But anything to hit on one of the most important person in the history of the club, it's a bit too harsh. But yeah, man.
Right, fair enough. Lewis, what's your thoughts on what Timo said there in regards to it?
What was it? You're saying that basically. I'm sorry, I've been zoned out for the last minute. I've been half asleep. Give me a bullet point, please.
No,
Timo, give him a bullet
I
point.
think it feels harsh, like of the way that people treating Christensen these days. I think he should give him more respected a lot in Chelsea's football club. I think he's one of the best centre back, arguably, ever since JT left. From my point of view.
Since JT left, yeah, Rudiger, Christensen, Thiago Silva. Yeah, I'd see that as well. I think he's been given a really bad rep, but I think based off last season, I could understand because everyone was bad last season. But I think because the Liverpool mistake came so early in the season, everyone just kind of had that against him and on his head for the last few months. Which is why I'm so glad 2021's come around because he's actually been given an opportunity to prove himself. I
think it's fair for certain individuals like myself to have these question marks when you look about his career as an overall, because he has been very good this season, which is, I think he's had his best. I think we can all agree he's had his best season in the Chelsea shirt by far. Yeah. But at the same time, he's had question marks, in games where you're like, can he really get to this level? Now he's got to this level, which is great, which is something, to be honest, it's not that I didn't know he could do, because to come through at Chelsea, especially like he did, he came to Chelsea at, was it 14, 15, started playing for us, at a young age, coming through the ranks and whatever, to get into the squad, there has to be something about you to even be able to, play for Chelsea in my eyes, especially now, you have to have something about you. So I think, just consistency now, moving forward next season, he's got to that level. Can he improve on that level? Is there more to his game that we're going to see? Or is this his level and now just the consistency needs to follow?
Yeah, my guy's added goals to his game now. We're all sorted.
Yeah, that's all pretty much I've got to say, apart from I can't wait to see send you close to Cancun.
Hey, he scored one goal in fucking 4 years. This goal that he scored is an absolute screamer.
Don't worry, he's going to score another 4 in 4 months.
Find out. But yeah, I hear you, Timo, and you on this Cancun thing. But yeah, you will catch.
No, that's all right. Check is still open, by the way, if you don't mind.
Oh yeah, it's Clippers Suns tonight, isn't it? All right, so yeah, that will be going on, people. Clippers Suns game. It's game 6. Yeah, it's game 6. Clippers Suns. Game 6, people. So NBA watch along. It's on the upcoming live stream section. Please make sure whether you're watching this live or right now, whether you're watching it live or watching it back, hit the like button. Make sure you share it across all the socials and subscribe to the channel Sarcasm City TV. Make sure you subscribe to Carefree Lewis's channel and GNA TV as well. I will be tagging them both in the title shortly. Timo, anything you want to add before we let you go?
I'm just gonna say check-in's still open if you want.
This guy, this foolishness. You know what I'm saying?
I'm trying to send you to Mexico. That's all.
Oh, this guy. Yeah, I've been there. Magic have been there.
I'll take a hotel room if it's going.
I got a couple of suites left if you want.
There you go. Lewis said
I'll take a suite, bro. I'm on it. Come.
There you go.
See what your hotel's about.
But Timo, big up every time, yeah? You already know, man. I'll catch you shortly. Welcome to another regular to the show as well. My like Ryan S is in the building. What you telling me, young OG? What's good?
What are you saying, man? Can you hear me?
You bless, yeah? Yeah, we can hear you. A bit quiet though, still.
What are you these the dodgy headphones, man. Can you hear me
There
now?
you go. Yeah. We can hear you now. What you got to say,
Yes,
going? Is
bro.
Christensen overrated? Is he underrated? What are you telling us?
I think with Christensen, I don't think he's either. I think he's rated fairly. I think it's how it goes in football. I think before, especially in that 2018, and it was 2019-20 season, Rudiger and Christensen, our whole back four had an absolute stinker in it. So he wasn't rated highly then, and then started the season off with a terrible mistake against Liverpool. Other than that, it was solid at the start of the season, and then for the rest, he wasn't really involved up until Tuchel came in because of Thiago Silva and Zuma. So, but now he's done his thing in a back three, in the middle of a back three. So I don't think he's overrated or underrated. I think the ratings he gets is deserved after his performances. And yeah, as long as people don't put in him like stupid comparisons and conversations he shouldn't be in, then like I think he's pretty rated fairly. But I think the big test is going to be going back to a back four, because the way he plays in a back three right now, if you got the characteristics to play in the middle of a back three, it can be very, very easy for you. Because if you're someone like Thiago Silva or Christensen, who is good on the ball, can read the game well, and is good at being a sweeper, then you can make the game look really easy in the middle of a back three. But if you're someone like a Zuma, who's got less of that, then you can make it look really hard for yourself. But I think the big test for Christensen is make or break, as I think the back four, because the back three right now, I want to say he's that protected, but there's a lot more protection than a back four. So for the question, I think Christensen's rated fairly.
You reckon he's rated fairly? So you don't think so? You think Jem's a bit harsh on him, but Lewis is over the top with him? Is you reckon that?
Lewis is always going to be over the top, bro. Man's got a whole AC high.
It is what it is. It is
Mr.
what it
Shameless,
is. I'll
bro.
take
That's
that.
what he is. So, Mr.
He
Shameless.
is
Man,
king
that's
shameless.
You mean shameless? Your agenda's shameless.
Man's got a whole penitentiary transcending and that, and you're trying to tell me he's going to be rating him highly.
Isn't shameless just another word for having an agenda? Anyway, because it sort of means the same thing.
So you're shameless then?
I'm not shameless. I just say it as it is, bro. You don't. You just want it to fit your little fucking Christensen Krusty the Clown bill, bro. That's what you want.
Aye, cool. We can bring you in for next week's Jorginho agenda, and then we will see shameless.
Bring me in. I'll do the same thing, and I'll criticize. I'll criticize him when he deserves to be criticized, and I'll praise him when he deserves.
Speaking of that, what's your thoughts on that then, Ryaness, in terms of Jorginho? You think he's underrated, overrated? Because to me, from the outside looking in, I believe he is heavily criticized in your team. Like, obviously, I'm not watching him as closely as Chelsea fans, but every time I see him, he looks like a good player to me. Like, I'm like,
it's just balding alcoholic yards that can't really watch football properly because they've got beer goggles on their eyes.
Yeah, like every time I see him, he's technically
Don't
screens
worry,
very well for me.
The yards, you're on your
Yeah,
right.
he screens very well. He starts up attacks. He seems to make a lot of interceptions. He seems very press resistant. I'm like, I don't know how many assists he's got, but it seems that he's get assists for you lot. He starts attacks as well. He's a tempo setter. He looks very, obviously in Tuchel, yes, you've looked miles better under Tuchel, but him and Kante look together as a pair, look very good as well. But I don't know. But yeah, Ryan, let's go. Give us your thoughts on Jorginho since we're speaking about it.
Yeah, I've always said with Jorginho, even like before Tuchel came in, because it's a lot easier now to rate Jorginho than before. Even when he was having his bad patch, I said that Jorginho, if you put him in the right system and you give him the right players around him and you had his deficiencies, can be a really, really good player. So I think I want to say he's a complete system player because you can tell he's got good ability. But it's like when he was left under Lampard, he was there hang to dry on the transition. He wasn't really given any support. He was isolated. So it was so easy to get at him. But I think the thing is with our fan base, I think the ones who don't rate Jorginho, I think they go way too over the top with it. And like I think they think he's the worst thing ever. And then the people who rate Jorginho have to go over the top to defend him. So it's a weird one. But with Jorginho, I think he's in, if you put him in the right system, like we've done under Tuchel, he can be a really effective player.
I had just a quick one,
Go on,
quick one on Jorginho. I had this big up to Danny Devil in the details. He sent me something on WhatsApp, and it was a stat breakdown of Jorginho. So a lot of the things that I question mark on Jorginho is the things that people think he actually does well.
Okay.
And I say, yeah, like he's good. Like, he's very good at moving the ball sideways. He keeps the ball ticking. He keeps the pace of the game going, which is cool. The one thing I don't think he does enough of is progressive passing. So when he's got the ball, look forward, play that ball into the final third, or if someone's making a run, play that ball over the top quickly. Yeah, and what he done was, Dan, is he compared Jorginho, and he pulled up other people in his position, Xhaka, Fred, yeah, and one other, right? In terms of progressive passing, playing it from where he is forward, Jorginho had the worst stat compared to Xhaka and Fred. And that's saying something. So these people that are telling me that he's moving the ball quickly into these interchannels, moving it forward, it's actually wrong. It's actually what I thought it was in terms of my eye test, because I always said he can keep the ball moving, but he's not doing this. I want him to just do that.
Now, you
do you
see,
know what I mean? Like,
I feel like with Jorginho, it's harder to notice when he has good games.
Oh shit! Is Sancho finally done?
Yeah, basically. But
what's that?
Like,
mad.
Yeah, he's done. Yeah.
Flawless. Your guy might finally be across the line.
Yeah, he's crossed
where
the
are
line,
you
bro.
finding that?
Christian Fox just reported it.
Yeah. It's done.
Let's see. Christian.
But he's doing well at the moment, and again, he's another player like Christensen that deserves praise because he's doing his job. Again, the question marks will be consistency going into next season. Can he perform at the levels that he has? Can he adapt to different systems, which we may have to do once we get found out, which we might not do, but if we do, and he has to switch the system, can Jorginho put the same level of performance in that he has in this system in a completely different one?
Yeah.
So
I think the thing with Jorginho is, it's very hard to it's harder to notice when he has the good games and the bad games in it because of his deficiencies. But I think the thing is, when he was playing next to Kante as well, you see Kante doing a lot more work than him, and he's going a lot up. But I think them crucial interceptions, keeping the play ticking, and he's a very, very good anchor next to Kante. And that's why it's hard, in it, when you look at it through the stats, or you're not really looking deep into what Jorginho, it could look like he's always playing average all the time. But and then when you take him out of the team, you see that certain stuff is missing in it. So I think Jorginho, the thing is, when you look at the stats and everything, and then the progressive passing and not running enough and not working hard and getting caught in the transition, more time he will drop a solid 6, 7 out of 10. But because it's so hard to notice it because he's not doing the front page stuff like a Kante would do, or a Kovacic.
I like that. Man said the front page stuff. I like that.
Yeah, bro.
Go on, carry on. That's good.
But that's true. He doesn't
So
do anything very.
But here's the thing: it's mad that you say that. The fact is that might shock most people that Fred has more progressive passing forward than Jorginho, but that doesn't shock me because one thing about Fred is, to his detriment, he constantly trying to pass the ball forward, where sometimes he should go side to side.
Yeah.
And then that's why you need to find a balance, because I don't mind you passing sideways if the pass, the problem with stats is you don't know the quality of the pass that's going sideways that then might enable the fullback or the wingback in Chelsea sense to then play it forward. It's all about it, because if you get a dodgy pass and you've got to take 3 touches instead of 2, that extra touch you are then taking may close off you being able to pass forward. One thing I will say about Jorginho is he takes care with the ball. That's from what I've seen. He always passes with purpose, whereas other players, it might get there, but they're having to take 4 or 5 touches to control it, when if it was one. Sometimes passes make up the mind, especially as a striker. When you get a great ball over the top and he just says hit it, you know what I'm saying? You're going to strike this first time because it's that good. Yeah, go on, Jim.
The reason I brought up Fred is not us, it's your fan base, because your fan base say that one of the biggest issues that you have in terms of Man United is the breakdown from McTominay and Fred, and then them getting the ball forward. They always think that pass is lacking, or that pass isn't making it to the Brunos or the Rashfords, and it just goes to show that he does it more than what people think he does. Yeah, so
100% he does.
Reaching, because this is progressive passes that are actually completing as well. So he's actually doing what it is people saying he's not doing in the team for Man United.
Because he's easy to scapegoat because of his style and the way he plays, and like Ryan S said, Fred is not front page stuff. You know what I'm saying? And that, so it's kind of like that, and because he doesn't look great on the eye test. That's the problem. Because I've noticed a lot. He does try and play. He always tries and zips the ball in. Whoever he's passing it to, he always tries to play it with zip. He tries to play it with purpose.
Very erratic though at times.
But the thing is, people call it, but it's erratic if it doesn't make it there. But then because we have a very poor system and there's not much going on around him at times, you're going to look bad. You know what I'm saying? When you're whipping in the ball to Wan-Bissaka, it's not going to. They're your options, right and left. Shaw's been better this season, but it's Shaw and Wan-Bissaka. We don't have a right winger more time. So normally whoever's playing on the right is tucked in. So that takes away your options. And you're playing next to McTominay. And Bruno's normally with the 9. We basically play 4-4-2. So more time, those two are going up against 3. Because if you look at our position, and Bruno is very high. He's either level with our 9 or higher than the 9. Yes, it changed, but Statman Baines always releases the average positions. And more time, your Europa League final, we were playing 4-4-2. It was Bruno and Cavani. Bruno was higher than Cavani. So it's like, who are you passing the ball to? And then obviously both our wingers are high as well. But hear what you're saying. But Ryan, that's last thoughts on it.
Yeah. And also with Jorginho, with the progressive passing thing as well. Like with Chelsea's system, our most progressive passer probably isn't even Jorginho. Like when Thiago Silva plays, he's probably way more progressive than Jorginho in it, and that's probably because the traffic is always in the middle of the park with Jorginho, with Kante. So more time, the person playing the progressive passing anyways is Thiago Silva, and it's just what works. Like Jorginho can do. I don't think he does it regularly enough pass forward, which is one of my main criticisms, but it doesn't always need to be the centre mid that always progressive passing, because Thiago Silva mainly does it for us, and what's it called? Jorginho can act as a decoy for it, and as well with Kante as well, who can progress the ball, or with any of the other centre backs with Rudiger and Azpilicueta, who can also progress the ball. It doesn't always have to be Jorginho, so you can progress the ball always without your midfield as well. So yeah.
Hey, man. Big up, man. But Ryan, that's big up. Lewis, any final thoughts on the Jorginho thing we are here talking about?
Baller, but I agree that he needs to be in the right system to be utilised perfectly.
Well, fair enough. But yo, Ryan S, man, big up for tuning in. Me locked in as always. Yo, man, big up to everyone who was tuned in. Love to everyone. We'll go to the special guest, Jem. Jem, anything you want to add, and let them know where they can find you. And I have tagged GNA TV and Carefree Lewis's channel in the title. So click on them now and subscribe to both of those channels if you haven't already. But yeah, go on, Jem.
Yeah, and do the same here at Sarcasm City. Make sure you support Flawless all the way through. Help him get to 3K.
Come on.
Road to 5K. 3K. He should be at 3K now. I don't get it. Like, come on, let's hit them subs, likes, and whatever. Do your thing. And yeah, if you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter as well, CFC_Gem. Obviously, GNA TV, and obviously the Football Terrace as well, which I'm on over there.
Make sure you check all out that Gem there. Mention Lewis again to you. Anything you want to add?
Champions of Europe, we know what we are. We know what we are. We know what we are.
Champions of Europe.
Champions of Europe. We know what we are.
Jeez, I walked into that one. I've not heard that in it. Oh, no. We're nearly an hour and 13 minutes. I've not heard him say up the Chelsea or anything. And I can see people in the chat saying Fabrizio Romano has said Sancho, here we go. So it's happening. So you'll probably get a show on that. Some tomorrow, Mandem United's tomorrow. So me and Harris will be talking about
Sancho's finally across the line.
Hey, until I see him holding up the shirt, you know what I'm saying? I'm not holding my breath. You know what I'm saying?
Love it.
Hey,
now that he's joined Manchester United, he's just a Kennington Stuart Downing. It is what it is. Sorry, man.
Love that. Large up. I'm glad we've got Sancho. Yeah, man. But love to everyone who was locked in. Big up everyone. The Agenda FC will be back next week as well. You can catch it on Wednesdays. It's either 5 or 6 p.m. But keep an eye on the upcoming live stream. Like myself and Lewis hosting. I'm joined by great special guests, including Jem. But love to everyone who's locked in. This has been Agenda FC on Sarcasm City TV. Thank you very much.